Hello there and welcome back to Build with the Boys. This is just a quick one. Those of you that are subscribers of any Hachette model or collection probably had an email this week, or if you didn't, check your spam, it might be there. And if you didn't get one, well, I don't know. Where they were marketing, they're testing the waters to see what people be interested in for future partwork models. Now, what you'll bear in mind with this one is we're probably a long way off ever seeing any of these, if any of these, as actual models, but they gave a nice list of kind of, these are ones we're looking at, these are ones we're thinking of. What do you think about them? Would you be interested in this? Wouldn't you be interested in this? And it's quite eclectic, everything they've listed. Now, the one thing I can say is nothing on this list is pop culture orientated. So there's nothing that's kind of movie license or TV license. It's nothing like that. All of these are vehicles, some military vehicles, some classic vehicles. There's a lot of very British vehicles on this one, which is interesting. But a lot of very quintessentially British vehicles and something very American. But we'll see what that is when we get to it. So we'll just have a look through them, see what they are. And if you haven't seen it, you can see what maybe is going to come to fruition at some point. So first one up on the list is this one. So that is the Avro Vulcan bomber, which was used by the RAF between 1956 and 1994. I can see that. I can see there being a market for that one again. As I've mentioned to you before a couple of times, military vehicles are not my thing. They're just not. If you knew what I did for a living, you'd understand that a little bit more. But military vehicles are just not. They're not my thing. So that one doesn't particularly appeal to me, but I can see it appealing to a lot of people. I know from conversations with people that we've had, I've had a lot of conversations about different military models, and they'd be interested in that one. I appreciate I'm so not into military models, but I planned on building the Lancashire bomber. It's a different thing for me. It moves over into pop culture, and I think it's got I don't know, it's different for me. Modern military vehicles I have no real interest in. But that's the Avro Vulcan bomber. Would you be interested in that? Let us know. The next one up is this one. That is the Vickers Wellington. It was a night bomber used in World War II. Again, I think that one's massively niche. I can't see there being a huge market for a Vickers Wellington. That said, I can see the license being really cheap for Vickers Wellington, so that might be why they go for it. I think that one's a stretch. I can't see people falling over themselves to do that one. I might be wrong. There's bound to be aficionados out there who are like, no, that's the awesome, and maybe, but I think that one's a stretch, you know. And I think also, since Hachette's Spitfire debacle, I can't see people having a lot of faith in that one. I can't, but who knows? But that's one they're testing at the moment. Well, no, they're looking to see if potentially that could become a test. Would you be interested in that one? I'd love to hear if you would. The next one up is this one. So that is the USS Constitution. Now that would be a wooden build. So that'd be a wooden boat. It'd be wildly different from the first two they looked at. So you never know. You might see more than one of these. You might see none of these. That's what you'll remember. So that's the USS Constitution, which again, I think it's a beautiful ship. I really do, but it's not my style. It's not something that particularly tickles my pickle. So it's not something I'd go for. But again, I know a lot of people out there that have built the Victory and things like that would probably be all over this. They'd like to see this one. So the USS Constitution is one that they're currently testing the waters on. Would people be interested in this? Let's look at the next one. So that's HMS Belfast. Now I can see this one having a much broader appeal, particularly in the UK. I can see this having a lot of appeal because, again, with the success of Bismarck, I think to build something from the other side to display it alongside your Bismarck if you wanted to, I think I can see people wanting this one. I think that's probably got a very high chance of becoming a model. But would it be one that would be interesting to you? Would you be interested in doing HMS Belfast? Let's look at the next one. The USS Lockspit, I find this one a little weird. I think this is massively niche. I can't see there being a huge market for this. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, it's I'm not a particularly huge aviation guy. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are people right now absolutely salivating at the idea of building that one. But I I don't know. I think that would be fairly underwhelming. I think it would be kind of meh. It's not, when you think of all the other ones, that certainly some of the ones are on this list. I can't see that one being huge. But am I wrong? Tell me if I'm wrong, because I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a big aviation guy, so I don't know. Let's look at the next one. The Boeing 314 Clipper. Interesting as well, because as far as I'm aware, they've not done a seaplane as such. So again, I can see there being an appeal to it. But again, I think for mass appeal, I don't know if it's there. I think the market's too small for it. Again, especially based on some of the others that are coming up on this list. It's nice enough. And again, we'd have to think about what scale it's going to be and exactly, what it does and doesn't do. Because how do you display it? Will it come with a diorama so it could be on the... I don't know. Let's look at the next one. Tomcat. Now we're talking, right? Now I can see that this having very, very, very broad appeal. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that one at all. If they can get that one, I know a lot of people be interested in it. I mean, it's a classic. And even, like I said, even as someone who's not particularly a military guy, I can see the appeal of that one. It's a very sexy plane, isn't it? So I think, yeah, I think that one's probably got a legitimate shot. And I would be very surprised if that one does not test the highest of this list. Well, the second highest of this list. There's something else coming up I think is probably going to win by a landslide when it comes to voting for these things. But yeah, I mean, I can see that one. I think a lot of people want to do that. And that's what I mean when you compare that to, say, the Clipper or the Vulcan. I'm thinking, well, if you have this list and you go, which one do you want to build? I think people are going to go there. They're not going to go here and here, Let me know what you think. Let's look at the next one. The Flying Scotsman. Now, I know that would do well. I just know it would. A lot of people have been asking for a long time for the Scotsman. I think it would be massive. It just would. I believe they've done one before a long time ago, but I know full well that, with the manufacturing style they've got now, it'd be huge. So I think that's probably going to finish top of this list when people come to voting on these things. But I can see that being massive. I think if they release that, it would be huge. It would be big. I just know it would. Because I mean, again, I think that the Orient Express, a few other ones, I think people be like, yep, I'm on that, and I can see it. So yeah, I think if that one, if they're successful in getting the license for that and actually making that, I can see that being huge, massive. Let's look at the next one. The Blackpool Tram. I mean, who saw that one coming? Now, I know all the people from the Route Master groups would probably be really into this one. I enjoyed Route Master that much that even that one tempts me. However, I've built Route Master. I've no interest in building a tram. If I hadn't built the Route Master, I may be interested in a tram. I appreciate they're not the same vehicle, but there's similarities there. But it'd be interesting to see what they do with that one, because you'd hope that it comes with a little diorama base that, the tram could sit some tram tracks. But that could be nice. That could be a classic Blackpool tram, and I'm sure the Route Master groups will be all over that. I'm sure they'd really like to do that one. But you wait ages for something like the Route Master to come along, and then two come along at once, because look at this one. The London Tram. So you would imagine if one of these trams does make it to a kind of test and then does make it to a full run and is successful, it would stand to reason they go, we should do the other tram as well. So who knows? You might be getting two trams. You might be getting any, but you might be getting two. And a London tram as well. I think London tram's probably got broader appeal than a Blackpool tram, but that's a Blackpool tram is a classic. They're still in service. I mean, so you'd see that. I don't know. I prefer the Blackpool to the London, to be honest with you. But it'll be interesting to see. Now, the final one on the list is a bit of a weird one, because I'm thinking either this thing would have to be massive, like a huge scale, like 1/5 or 1/4 scale, or, well, not 1/4, that'd be humongous. But I can't see this being this would have to be like a 60-parter or something like that. I can't see it being huge, and you'll see what I mean when you see it. This is the last one on the list. Sopwith Camel, which is one of the first military planes ever used. It's a biplane. It was used in 1917. It's a classic. But again, I mean, how do typically when they want to go 100 plus issues, how, on something like that, how do you do 100 issues of that? Unless there is very, 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 very little to do on that. How do you do 100 issues of that one? Can't see it. Can't see it. Unless it's wooden, and then maybe you could spin it out a little longer, but I don't know, man. I can't see where you fit 100 issues into that one. So maybe they use a different tact, I don't know. Or it's bigger. It's a lot bigger than the normal sort of 1/8 or 1/6 scales that we're used to. Maybe they go a little bigger, but I don't know how big you could go with it. But those are the lists. So a very eclectic kind of mix. And to be honest with you, I was a little underwhelmed. There's nothing on that list that screams to me at all, right? There's nothing that makes you go, ooh. Now, I might feel differently when we see tests of any of these, if that happens, or if we see a full kit. I might feel differently about them. But to be honest with you, I was kind of going through the list waiting for kind of like, ooh, there's the 18 van. Or that's kind of what I was expecting. I was expecting to see something and maybe go, ooh, wow, there's, the Dodge Challenger from Vanishing Point. That's kind of what I was expecting. It just never appeared. They're very British, most of them. I mean, with the exception of the Tomcat and obviously the USS. They're very British models, which again I find unusual. I just do. I find that very strange. But there's nothing to say that any of these are going to become models. This is just them testing the waters. That's all it is. Would you be interested in any of these? And if you were, how interested? What would you want to know about them? And that's what they're asking. So if you haven't seen that email, you might still get it yet. But I'd be interested to know what you think. Do any of those grab you? Where you're like, oh yeah, that's the Holy Grail. I'm sure a lot of you want to do the Scotsman. I can see that. But beyond that, is there anything else on that list that really jumps out at you, that really grabs you? Be interested to hear what you think. You can either email us at buildingtheboys@outlook.com or you can pop it in the comments down below. That's all from me. It was just a quick one just to let you know about this and potentially what's going to be arriving in. That'd be 2025, I'd imagine, if you can see any of those. But until next time, in a world where you can be anything at all, just be nice. And I will see you soon for more from Building the Boys. Take care. Catch you soon.